Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And we got this dude back. He's back.
I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm wearing a thermal. That's up. That's it. You got a sweater on. I got thermal. We got some weird shit going. You're layered. You're layered. We got some weird shit going up here in the Northeast, man. I'm JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been making books since 2008. Been hanging out with this guy over here for a little less time than that. But almost every Sunday, we're here together, hanging out with a hell of a bunch of talented, independent comic book creators who have put their money where their mouth is, believed in themselves, and have made some awesome books.
Yeah.
Why don't you bring them out, bro?
I will bring them.
My man.
Hey, what?
Hey. What's up, Randy?
Hey, everybody. Randy Zimmerman, Arrow Comics, writer of The Atlantean, podcaster twice a week on Indy Comics Network. Early Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then real early Friday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern time, so that we look at some great comics. So stop by when you can.
Cool.
Happy to be here.
Hey, how's it going? Mark Dudley from Imaginos Workshop, the writer and the creator and artist for Judah Fist, Seven Deaths of the Yobi, or an overseer of a whole bunch of other stuff.
All right. Cool.
You mean weirdos. That's right.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Knowles. I am also wearing some thermal clothing right now because it is cold in Florida. It is just as cold in Florida as it was in Alaska at one point last week. They had our temperature here in Alaska, and it was colder here than Alaska. But I am one half of Insymmetry Creations. I am also glad to see that JD Rosario did not go run when he heard I was going to be on the show. This is the first time in like a year that JD Rosario has actually showed up when I showed up for the show. He and I both have, I mean, I'm a Dolphin fan. He's a Jets fan. But right now, this week, all we are both anti-Patriots fans. So there we go. We can roll with that. Insymmetry Creations has got a great Kickstarter out there right now for Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress, for fans of Pirates of the Caribbean, the live-action One Piece and martial arts heroines. But I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, right, JD Calderon?
Yes, we will.
So before we go any further, I got to say, for those who don't know, I just want to tag on to what Matt says. Between the months of August and March, we cannot be within the same 1,000 miles of each other. Okay, so we're limited with which conventions we do, and and the likes. All right. Between March and August, hey, you say anything bad about Matt, I'll kick your teeth in. But between August and March, you could throw him to the dogs. I'm like, sure, no problem.
and likewise, between March and August, if you say something bad about JD Rosario, I'm going to let Randy Zimmerman kick your teeth in.
Yeah. We're going to bring you down, Randy.
Do what I have to do.
There you go, baby.
Football-wise,
especially if the price is right.
football-wise, me and Randy we suffered this year already. So
we had it. I keep telling everybody we had it way too easy about the last 4 or 5 years. People got stupid. They forgot how to drive in this kind of weather.
That's right, buddy.
Yeah, but that's all over, brother.
Well, I kept saying we were going to get walloped one of these years, just right out of the blue, and this might be
Hey,
it.
Randy, I'm hearing Blizzard of 78. That's what people are saying. Remember the Blizzard of 78? I'm like, yeah, I remember the Blizzard of 78.
I do. I remember the blizzard of 78. I drove home from work, literally driving from mailbox to mailbox, trying to stay out of a ditch.
That's right.
All the way. I worked 30 minutes away from my house, and on that day it was an hour and a half. So
let me ask you guys.
Winters are different, buddy. Either they good or they suck.
Mark and Randy, where you guys are at, does the salt just blend in with the pavement and you can't see dividing lines out there by you too, or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Here and there, yeah. It's mainly the salt just gathers on the car.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, over here,
go
the
wash
salt
it off.
blends in with all of the dividing lines, and people, it's choose your own lane in the highway. It's
no, that's normal. That's that. I'm in
Yeah,
Flint.
salt or no salt.
That's Flint driving right there. Right. Choose your own lane. Yeah. choose your own lane. Decide whether or not that light is actually red or green. That's up to you. Yeah.
All the
There's
South
always
Michigan
got to
right
drive
there.
defensively. Always.
Well, all right. In Puerto Rico, I don't know if it's like this by any of you guys, but I know in Puerto Rico, after midnight, a red light is a stop sign. Okay, it's a yield. It might as well be a yellow. As long as there's no oncoming traffic, you can cross the red line after midnight. Yeah, that's because carjacking was a bad thing out there for a while.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And they
So
just kept
there's a reason.
they kept the law going.
Reason to keep moving.
All right. Now that we're done with the weather,
Who says? My next book is based on the weather. Come on.
Here's Tom with sports.
exactly. Since we're
Oh,
done
we
with
kind of
the
went
weather-
through sports.
In
Too,
other
yeah.
news,
No, we went to sports
dude.
as well. Yeah, there you go. All I need to do is start talking about the UFC. We'll be set. Anyway,
oh, there you go.
all right. So here's the show question: Are we returning to a golden age in indie comics, and why? You know. So, Mark, you're in the hot seat, so we're just gonna pass it on to you.
Man, okay, so I mean, you can look at it a couple ways. The fact that we got multiple distributors trying to figure it out, maybe looked at as a bad thing at first, but I think when they get it together, it's going to be a good thing, and I think that's good for indie comics. Especially looking back to when indie comics last time it really blew up in the mid '80s. In the mid '80s, that was the case. You had multiple distributors. Yes, you had the direct market, but you had multiple distributors, and you had people who were willing to take a chance on something new. And you see the result. A lot of that stuff is still here today and still venerated today. And I think people want something new, and I think the LCSs in particular, they're a lot of them. I don't say a lot of them, but there's some of them that I've talked to that are getting tired of pushing the same old stuff, man. They at least want something that is independent to kind of point people to that maybe like their favorite thing, and that's a door. That's all we need is a door. So I think that I don't know if it's coming back yet, but I can definitely see the avenue for which it can come back.
All right, cool. Matt, what are your thoughts?
So I'm going to answer your question with a question. Is this a thought that you have? Have you heard rumors about coming back to a golden age? I haven't heard anything along those lines. So is this a question coming from you, or is this something you're hearing?
No, this is a question coming from me.
Okay. I don't think that it's a golden age. I think that there's a lot of room for discovery right now, because a lot of the old ways are not as easy. And I will say, obviously the whole diamond path obviously isn't there. What people got used to in the 80s and 90s of, hey, just get on a publisher of any size and get into diamond and get into comic stores. That's not there. I think that, if you look at the golden age of crowdfunding, which was 2020 through 2022, and everybody had tons of stimulus money on their hands and all that, and you could put anything up there and make 5 digits on a campaign. That's not where we're at right now. I think that there's a lot of room for discovery right now, whether it's working with a smaller company like Massive to get your titles into distributors, whether it's doing different things on crowdfunding, different kind of merch. But I don't know if I would say it's a golden age at all, but I do think there's a lot of room for discovery right now, for sure.
Bronze. Bronze age.
Okay.
maybe not gold. Not even silver. Gotcha.
Maybe the copper penny age. How about that?
Copper penny age, there you go. That's fair. Randy, what are your thoughts?
I like what both Mark and Matt said. We are in such a transition period. It's really difficult to predict what's going to happen these next couple of years. Yes, the market looks like it's swinging. Multiple distributors is only a good thing. At least we can get beyond the diamond programming that the local comic shops had been forced to deal with the last 30, 40 years, and maybe diversify the industry. It's all, and the art form, I should say. the whole industry needs to be revitalized and revised. But that's that's probably a topic for another time. But it all ties down to how everyone in this industry loves this business and appreciates the art form. You know, you can't go out there and I want to try to be nice here. You can't go out there and make silly rules and insist on a crap ton of money in order to get basic exposure. You know, there has to be a way. There has to be some way to get distributed out to the masses. And unfortunately, the one thing that the direct market did was castrate a lot of those avenues.
Yes.
And we have to go back and we have to try to rediscover the wheel, and at the same time try to raise the appreciation for this art form with the public. You know, words and pictures, this is the best, most unique form of entertainment, and it can be the most personal voice that any entertainment venue can give you, even outside of. It's the same as sitting in your room and writing a song and pouring your heart out into your perfect track on digital. It's the same thing with us working on boards or working with art. And the people in the business have got to stop being the greed and the unnecessary bilking, I guess the proper word would be, has to stop, and there has to be a kind of like the old saying goes, a rising tide raises all boats. We're all going to have to get into that water and figure out how to raise that tide really fast, real quick. And if we were to do that, I really think that there could be a new golden age, especially in the indie market. There's a lot of the indie market that a lot of people don't remember.
Sure.
You know, especially because they've, and I've caught this a lot, and a lot of it that was never experienced by current comic fans.
Sure.
You get in there and you hit your touchstones, your turtles and your image, but in between that, there was a real golden age there, like when Tall Tales came in, when Aniverse came in. There was a huge diversity that was coming in as far as different titles and different subjects and oddball things that, who was it? Austin even tried to do a baseball book, a comic at one time. There, all sorts of different genres were opening up until Image came in and kind of stifled the retailer dollar with over deluge of superhero books.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if that's the golden age, I would love to see return.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is that superhero books are just not that good, not much.
No, not at all.
I'm not saying that. I was just joking.
The problem is ever since the market started, and ever since I've been involved in the market, and since the 80s, there's always been these people out there that find and bilk the system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got people that have gone out there and manufactured the cheapest, most gaudiest looking black and white comics you could ever imagine. And you sit there and you see that this retailer literally has to eat it because he doesn't get to return anything.
Right.
And he's taking a chance on any title that comes through previews, hoping it's going to be the next Turtles. You know, back during the 80s, that's why the bust happened. All of these guys took advantage of the system.
Yeah.
People don't realize.
Diamond and Jeppy took advantage of the system, became the exclusive deal in the market so that they could make all the money. That didn't help the art form any. You know, it helped some collectors. Pardon?
I said it's like the ultimate gate to be kept at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I remember as I saw this catastrophe happening, man, in the early 80s to early 90s to mid 90s. I saw this iceberg, you know, coming. I'm telling people, man, you know, you could just it's better with this. I said, you got to be crazy. Monopoly is never good for anybody.
Right.
You that's not gonna happen. So again, you know, everybody was spooked. Everybody, it was during the speculator days, whatever. But then you also got to look back at at stuff that happened even before then, right? You got to look at the seduction of the innocent and the comics code. You got to look at all of that, because before the code, you know how many different type of books people were putting out.
Right.
Oh, there's an amazing history. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
But there's certain books that never should have survived either, right? I've gone through the dollar bin, and yeah, I've seen that indie age, and I've seen some of the books that just
Sure.
It all depends on which age you're talking about. There was a lot of experimentation done in the 80s, especially in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
It was so easy and inexpensive to print a black and white comic back then. So
Right.
you had a lot of people, yet samurai penguin, any animal that they could put a weapon to that was running around in a comic. Kung Fu
And
Gopher.
then we forgetting Caliber. Caliber was doing black and white. Caliber has lost a whole lot of beautiful stuff, man. You know,
I mean, we lost a lot.
It's a great thing.
Mhm.
We definitely lost a lot of imprints, not just Caliber.
I'm just saying in particular in terms of what in terms of taking it the black and white route.
It's not even that as much as all of the talent that has gone out of the business, because the way the system has worked and the way it's so easy to be discouraged working in the indie and small press market. It's a Herculean effort just to get one issue up. And few people realize the kind of work that goes into doing just one book, let alone getting to issue 3 or issue 5 or issue 10 or issue 12. You know,
But when Calderon is asking, is it a return to golden age? I got to ask, are you trying to put an identifier on this era, right? Or is it because there's an influx right now in the market of that Dogman group, right? Those kids who had that entry level through Scholastic, whose financial barrier of entry was very minimal. Their palettes are starting to expand, and they're looking for something different, and they're willing to buy, books outside, not just in the big two, but outside of the big two. They're going to the comic book shops and they're picking up something more because they've already been used to going to the comic book shops where they see, those books on the end caps. If those shops were doing it right, and building them up to become future readers. If that's the golden age he's referring to, I think we got a hell of an influx.
We got another troll in the
Oh yeah,
I guess so.
Another troll.
This guy. Through, so. But when if that may be the case, then we've got a shot right now at some revitalization and new money in the industry. Let's look at this right now. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm not trying to make fun of any of us right now. I'm the youngest one in the room, and I'm 50. We're
No, hold on. Wait a second. I think Mr. Knowles might be younger than you, isn't he?
Let's put it this way: by actual biological age, he might be right. By the way I carry myself, absolutely not.
We're aging out, right? We're aging out. So the way we like comic books, the way we read comic books, the way we're expecting comic books to come out, that's it, right? Our dollar at some point is not going to count anymore. What we want to see,
you're making a great point.
What we want to see is going to phase out.
That's why we have to.
We
have to look at regrowing that audience. Yeah.
Right. But you're making a great point, right? But again, I read something on ICV2 a couple of days ago that kind of made me think that they didn't know what the hell they was talking about. So they're talking about manga, and they're like, oh, the manga's doing this, and it's a mystery why it's doing that. No, it's not. It's not a mystery at all. What are you talking about? First of all, nobody. Look, my thing is this: I love comics. I love superhero comics. I give them whatever, right? But my thing is this: I don't want to read no story that has no ending, where the fifth act is always a retread, and nothing that happens to the character really sticks or means anything. Getting tired of that. Number two, you want different genres of stuff, which you don't get here in the States for the most part. And yes, the indie part, Matt, and you brought up a good point there, JD. These kids are reading comics, but they're not reading the comics we're reading, obviously.
Right.
And as they're aging up, they are looking for new stuff, but they're not looking for superhero comics. And so
they're not. Right? They're looking for the Dragon Ball Z stuff.
That
right?
that can bring back a age where indie comics have a better shot, because the indie comic we do everything in indie comics.
Right, but indie comics are never gonna have a better shot, bro. It's
Well,
not.
I think it depends on what bro. That's business. You talk about capitalism a lot, right? That's how capitalism works.
Yeah, well, of course. Randy brought that up, right? Randy brought that up with the shit. Even my wife brought it up for a second, right? With the slop that's coming out right now.
Sure.
But you bring out 52 SKUs of the same book in 1 week, you're flooding the fucking shelves, right? So Randy said that the shops were buying maybe the next potential winner in a future Turtles book, so they were dipping their toes into all of those indie books, which turned out to be bust. But now we have the other side of that coin.
A lot of them,
that's how you get an opportunity.
A lot of them did, but the real bust was the fact that the retailers were hooked on Image coming in, because they were programmed that superheroes always sold. Image comes in and does a bunch of let's say mediocre to bad superhero comics all at once, and they just flood the market. The retailers have no money for any of the black and white stuff. So, but then that, on top of the bad quality that some of the black and white publishers were doing at that point, but there were a lot of really classic comics that I miss that are gone now that should have stuck around. Galaxian could have been just as big as ElfQuest. If you're not familiar with Galaxian, it's a science fiction continuing series, very much like Star Trek, that had a really nice anime style, anime equivalent style to it. That was a lot of fun. It was a great book. There's so many great titles out there that Reed Fleming, World's Toughest Milkman, is gone. The even Milk and Cheese you never see around anymore. But if there was the only way that those indies are going to have a golden age is if there's some way to get out into the real mainstream, or to enlarge their audience past the limited audience that crowdfunding gives you.
Yeah. I mean, to Randy's point, I think the biggest issue that I see is that independent publishers, Dave Sim, Jeff Smith, Terry Moore, publishers like that are going to be non-existent, because these companies, they don't want single publishers. Mm-hmm. They want a publisher with a line of books, right? They don't want a single creator just with one book for one SKU, right? And that's how they're looking at it. And, that's a shame, because the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's about money, but does it always have to be about money?
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is how are we ever going to find another Dave Sim? Are we going to ever find another Jeff Smith? Are we going to ever, you know what I mean? Are we ever going to find these people?
Well, it seems like it was organic with the last time.
Right. And the thing is
organic, and I think that we don't take that into account enough. We looking at the SKUs, we looking at all this or whatever, right? I remember picking up TMNT, the first issue of TMNT. I just walked in the store. That was back in whatever, right? So I walk in the store. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's kind of weird. Check this out or whatever, right? And even then, you had the direct market. We had multiple distributors, yes. We still had a direct market. It was a comic shop I picked it up in. And even stuff like that, like Sunrunners, for example, right? We talked about that one time.
Pat Broderick.
I recently I found a copy of it and had it in a while, so I hit up Pat Broderick. I was like, hey, Pat, guess what I found? Copying some of his best work. But again, it was organic. And one thing about being organic, like we talked about, the scholastics are growing our audience for us.
Yes.
It's our job to take advantage of that growth and try to focus on where those kids are trying to go, what they're growing into.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look, as they grow up, I know, Jay, you had mentioned that, those kids coming out of manga, they're going to want to read more Dragon Ball Z. I actually disagree with you. They're going to want to read something. I don't think they want to read Dragon Ball Z because they've read it. They want something different. You understand? They're going to read, but they want something different. Maybe they want Shield of the Interceptor. Maybe they want, Vicky Styx or Tetsumi or something along those lines. They want something a little different. Okay. Because they've had their fill with that other stuff. That's why they're moving on.
I think the thing as creators that we really have to be cognizant of is that where we're at in 2026 is not the same form of entertainment market we were at 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, as the faster broadband gets, the quicker information gets to our fingers. Think about in the 80s, how did you get your news? You sat in front of the TV and you watched your local news station, and that was where you got your news, or you went down to the store and picked up a newspaper. Mm-hmm. I will bet you that there's less than 1% of people in the country, in the world, that's how they get their news now. They are watching CNN, or they're on their phone and they're flipping through their notifications on their phone, scrolling like this. And I think that if people are like, well, I want to go back to only getting news from a newspaper or only getting news from the local news, you're kind of missing the point. And I feel like you need to say, what other ways do I need to get my media out there? Do I have to do a conversion of what I'm doing and get it on Webtoon, so that way when people are on Webtoon, they can go get my comic and they can just literally with their thumb scroll through an episode, because there are people out there that only want episodes of something they can read in 5 minutes, and maybe that could be the gateway to bring them elsewhere. And I think that is one of the big things that I see a lot of people miss, is that it's okay to do different things. There may be, if you build your fan base, you may have 10% of your fan base that's
Matt, I want to call a TV timeout on that for a second, because you're answering the question that I want to ask.
Okay. So I just backed up.
I love where you go with it. I do. So I'm not trying to shut you down, but I do. I want to make sure Calderon answered his question first. But you are going down the fucking road of what I was going to ask.
And you know what, JD Rosario, because we're aligned today, I'm going to calmly and kindly pause so that way you, sir.
All right. Okay, cool. Calderon, did you finish your answer, brother?
Well, all right. So as far as it being another golden age of independent comic books, look, I don't know. I mean, I'm asking because I'm asking, right? I don't know, right? I literally generally came on the show and said, let me ask these guys what are their thoughts on this, right? Because that's what this is about. It's about us sharing our thoughts, right?
There's one more piece to it, though, too. Again, there's one more piece to it. That piece is things going from one comics medium to another comics medium. Like I've been noticing and talking to people. A lot of people doing web comics are taking those web comics and putting them out, like you were saying, Matt, chapter by chapter, putting them together, and then putting them out as a graphic or putting them out as a trade or whatever, right? And so they're baking those audiences in. And so everybody in that audience, they might read the chapter, but they're gonna, when the book comes out, they're like, I want the physical copy. So that's another avenue that I don't think, that we talk about enough. As it relates to, putting out that next indie hit or whatever, right? So,
yeah. No, I mean, you're right about that. But getting on to my point is like I said, I just want to get everybody's opinion on it, because I do feel things are getting a little better. We've already been through a rough patch with the loss of Diamond and all that stuff. And we've seen that downturn in Kickstarter, right? We've seen everybody just pretty much get cut by 30%. Right, I think everybody pretty much lost 30% of their sales across the board, and that's from the top to the bottom. It's all of us. And I think I don't think things have rounded that corner just yet, but I think we're starting to hit the corner. Maybe I'm just optimistic. I don't know, but once in a while I do try to be a little bit more optimistic.
Sure.
Because I look at it like this. Gloom and doom, it's only gonna last so long. It's like anything else, it's only gonna, it's cold now, but it's only gonna be cold for so long. And trust me, in the middle of August, we're all gonna be sweating our nuts off, and we're all gonna be like, damn, I wish it was a little bit colder.
I have sworn to never bitch about the hot weather ever again.
Never.
Right.
Never. I'll strip down to nothing and sweat. Thank you very much.
I will do that for you when it's 120 heat index in Florida in the summer. I'll take care of that for you.
Yeah. Right. So I do feel things are getting a little bit better. I whether or not they are, I don't know. You understand? Maybe I just got off these last 2 campaigns, and maybe I'm still a little bit on that 2 campaign high, and I'm ready to jump on to the next one. Maybe that's that.
I think we have to think about all this from an integrated standpoint, though. That's really the point I'm trying to make. You know, it's not just Kickstarter stuff, it's web stuff, it's physical stuff. All of it is in the
Mark,
comic.
that can be answering my question, Mark.
God dang it.
Hold on. I know you got
All right, I'm cool.
I love everybody's energy tonight.
Wait,
tonight.
but
Right?
hold on, Jay. I'm not done yet. Mark,
Yeah,
just
just
answer your question real quick. Right, here's the thing, though. You see, I might be optimistic, but I'm also very selfish. I don't do those other things. I just focus on what I'm doing. There you go.
Yeah, but that's why it's an eco structure, though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
What?
That's why it's eco structure, because success. Let's get back to what Randy was saying. The rising tide raises all.
Right. Yes, I do agree. I'm
Right.
joshing you. So yeah.
Right. Here we go.
All right, Jay. I'm sorry. I was.
No. So,
I was going to jump in, Jay, but I don't want to
No, Randy, go ahead,
speak
jump
up
in,
and
baby.
maybe answer your question.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me.
Yeah, I think you need to get that question asked because I feel like we all are
I know,
answering.
I know,
even though we
everybody's
all know
answering.
it's there.
Now we need to
Well,
know.
It's all part of the mind
everybody's
hive.
Everybody's
There you go.
hitting these points, right? And Mark, you brought up the eco structure. I love that, right? The ecosystem. All right. So a couple of years ago, Calderon did a book called Tenchi Muyo, right? Came out after the cartoon came out. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right. And it comes back to, not just that Dogman group, all right, but that early anime
Manga group,
Cartoon
yeah.
Network, right?
Yeah.
They're aging up. Their dollars are coming out because that book that he wrote in the fucking 90s, based on the cartoon, right, exploring the whole world of the cartoon, blew up. What was the number? They did it like 100K?
159.
159. So their dollars are
Amazing.
there right now. All right. So they took a way to capture that spending power. They found a way to grab that spending power of that group that came into this. So I'm gonna start with Matt because he was on that fucking journey. How do we capture the spending dollar of that group that was into the anime and the Cartoon Network stuff from the 90s? The Dogman that's aging up right now, right? You were giving up some great points.
I think that every creator needs to be honest with themselves in this way, and that is one: are you creating the story simply because you want to see it in print, or are you creating a story because you want to see a business built around that story? And I think if you want to see a business built around it, you have to understand what are the ways that the business is actually operating right then. We know that in 2020 through 2022, Kickstarter was at an all-time high. Then the economy took a turn and absolutely crapped the bed. The end of 2023 until right about now, Kickstarter has been really rough for the independent creator. The chasm between the haves and the have-nots was as big as it ever has been. You have to look at, well, what are the things that are selling? There's people out there that want collectibles. Think about the ultra collectible world that we're in right now. There are Pokemon cards that are $5 million to $10 million. People are going and doing box breaks on YouTube, and they're pulling $10,000, $100,000 101 cards out of there just for trading cards. And we have to say, okay, well, maybe we need to make sure that the stuff we're doing has got a collectible side to it. Maybe there are some people, doesn't mean everybody, there are people that want the $5 or $10 issue, but there are some people that may want, the JD Calderon 101 trading card, of JD himself. Maybe they want to see JD and JD in a sword fight. Who knows? But I think we need to be honest with ourselves, and if you want to create a business around it, not be afraid to explore the things that others may want that may not be your wheelhouse. I'll tell you one thing really quick.
Go for
We
it.
have metal covers that we do on our campaigns. We have laser engraved wood covers that we do on our campaigns. We know how much those things are. I can tell you, for me as a personal collector, I would never personally spend the kind of money that it costs to get a metal cover for my own personal collection. But I know there's people out there that want those things. So what kind of a fool would I be as a businessman to not create that thing if I can make money on it, if there's somebody out there that really wants it? We have guys that every time we set a campaign up, the only thing they get is a metal cover. And I'm like, you know what? I'd be throwing money away, and I would be just not gaining that money if I wasn't willing to create those other products. And I think, like, to answer your question, Jay, You just got to be real with what lengths are you willing to go to try and capture that market and bring that market into your environment.
Okay.
Into your eco structure. Boom. Mark Dudley, love that phrase.
Yeah,
Well,
but what are the limits? Where will you go?
Well, there's another piece of that though too, right? Because I'm working with I was laughing y'all say I oversee a lot of stuff, right? So I'm working with the creator right now on a book that, you know, you got people in her ear who are telling her they can get her $1 million Kickstarters and stuff like that. I'm like, no. I'm like, first of all, no one knows the character. I think the character's dope personally. That's why I'm working with her. But nobody knows the character. How you gonna get $1 million Kickstarter off something nobody knows? Number one, and number two, you know, it comes down to, look, this is unfortunately, yeah, you might get some fast hits here, but this is a slow burn. This industry, buddy. If you're gonna really, you know, make some, you know, make some relevance here, you're gonna, you know, make some impact. It's gonna slow burn. You know, it's a lot of good books out here. You know, again, I got a copy of Oswald, and I'm like, man, this is amazing. This book kicks ass, right? But it's still a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, so I think that a lot of times, especially people coming to this market, you know, one of my younger studio mates, it's funny, he was like, I know this guy's making $1 million. I'm like, no, he's not. This is a mainstream comic guy, right? I'm like, no, he's not, nowhere near. It's that their expectations are, they want to get in here, make the money, and leave and whatever. But again, this is a slow burn, and I'm not going to say slow and steady wins the race, but I will say that if you're not in here for some longevity, buddy, this is the wrong place for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, how are we capitalizing on that group that is aging up?
I think you got to write stories that are going to appeal to them. If you're like, I'm going to write this story that appeals to me as someone in our demographic, and you're not trying to write something that might appeal to a different age group or demographic or worldview, whatever it might be, you can't expect that you're going to be able to force your story down their throat unless you've got a story that is the best thing known to man that can transcend. I mean, you know, we're not all going to be writing Lord of the Rings that's going to be having adaptation after adaptation over a century. You know, you have to think about, am I going to write something that's going to appeal to a specific group? And that doesn't mean you're selling out by doing that. You're just trying to be a smart businessman.
Sure.
Yeah. Agreed.
And you also got to find that thing, right? Okay, so they agent on Dogman. They're coming to manga. So what do we know about manga? What do we know about Dogman? Dogman, you know, was easily digestible. You know, and the parents liked it. You know, there's no bunch of TNA in there. Number one, right? And then you get the manga where, you know, these kids are reading stuff their parents don't know they read.
Right.
You know, but the main thing is that the kids feel like they can relate to the characters in the manga. It's all about relationships. So even if you got a superhero book, like for example, you look at the manga My Hero Academia. It's a superhero book. That's what it is. But these kids feel like they can relate to that because it's people that they can relate to as the characters that are the main characters of these books. It's not like the main guy, the big super guy. He's not the main character. It's the little guy who's trying to work through and gain his powers and use the fighting spirit to be a better guy. That's what these kids are buying, right? And I think that the superhero comics in and of themselves that we produce, at one point we produced that, but we forgot how to produce that.
All right, Randy, what do you think of that, Randy?
I'm trying to swing this back to your question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Now, Randy.
Yeah, they went all the way to the left of the question.
How do you appeal to the Dogman audience? You got to know what the Dogman is in the first place. That's the big thing. You got to know what the what's selling out there and what's not. You got to get your feet dirty and go in there, buy a couple of Dogman books. There's I got it over here somewhere. The Cool Cats Comics Club that Pilkey does more for getting kids into comics than what Marvel and DC's done the last 40 years. You know, the market has been so centralized and so blinded by you only want to sell superhero stuff or you only want to sell horror stuff, that the variety is gone. And the entertainment has been the entertainment value, because you can do whatever genre you want to do. And people have proven this over and over again. It's always the quality of the writing. It's the quality of the work that's going to bring people back and have people come in and really start looking at you. When, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong here, when Attack on Titan started out over in Japan, they thought it was terrible. That's just crappy stuff. It gets over here to America and they start reading it and looking at the actual story and thinking about it, and it becomes a huge hit over here.
Exactly.
You know, I like to say that the kids are so desperate to be entertained right now that they're reading manga from right to left. They're willing to do that to be entertained. There's a problem. And Marvel and DC should have figured that out about 20, 25, 30 years ago. And the independent market's always been trying, but the independent market with Bone and other things like that, if you're lucky, a big Scholastic ends up finding Bone, a property like Bone, and blows it all up. But the really innovative thinker, the really creative part of this industry has been stomped on and watered down because of somebody's perception that the only thing the retailers want to buy comes from 2 tall castles and maybe a couple, 3 or 4 huts that live around the moat. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Love that analogy.
Yep.
And it's got to change. And if we're in an age right now, it's not a golden age as much as a transition age. And there's so many different avenues out there, and there's so many different boxes out there. And yet I still think that you're going to have somebody figure out a format, whether it's physical or digital, that's going to just blow up. And this art form has always proven itself to survive under any kind of circumstances.
Sure.
It'll survive this as well. But I think in the long run, something's going to pop out that's going to make it even bigger. I thought it was going to be graphic novels. Everybody thought it was going to be digital comics, and maybe Dogman size books, maybe digest books again at the grocery stores, which Archie has been doing very quietly for 40 years now. And there's got to be a reason those digests keep coming out. They ain't losing money. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it comes down to quality of product and hitting the audience and bringing their attention to it. The thing with superheroes, and this is me, I'm probably shouldn't even start this soapbox, but my big problem right now with superheroes is that they're too realistic, and that superheroes is a fantasy genre, and it needs to stay and be a fantasy genre. And as such, it needs to stop worrying about all the little realistic bits in your life and get back to what superheroes actually were. There was a time when Captain Marvel Jr., Mary Marvel, selling millions, just like Crime Does Not Pay, just like Weird Science. They're selling millions off of the stands. And it's a completely whimsical, just goofy book. You pick it up now and you just shake your head at it. All of the weirdness that you thought Superman and Batman had back when the Comic Code Authority first kicked into place, all came out of those writers who were writing Captain Marvel at one point. You know, with a talking tiger and a talking worm and a talking alligator, and sold millions. We need to get our art form back to that point where we're selling millions, but we're selling to different millions all over the place. Crime Does Not Pay. The audience for Crime Does Not Pay was not the audience that was picking up Captain Marvel.
Sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we need to find a way to get mass distribution again as well, and get out there in front of a lot of people's noses somehow, whether it's digital or a different format or whatever.
What works for them is that they do books on everything. What you want to cook it, you want to do a book or a manga about cooking, they got that. You want a manga about roller skating, they got that. You want a manga about salary man, they got that. You want a manga about politics, they got that.
That's also an art form and a culture that didn't grow up castrated by the Comic Code Authority.
Yeah, absolutely.
go.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's why I
go.
took it back to that history right there, Randy. That's
See that?
exactly why.
Yeah, that code authority knocked comics down into kitty literature in the minds of people here in North America. It's not just
Absolutely.
United States. It's the whole North American. But you get out of North America, maybe
Different
past Britain, because Russ and Glenn like to tell me that their situation's the same as ours over in England. But you get to
They got
France, and you get
2000
to
AD.
Spain. Yeah, it's true. You get to France and Spain. We're artists.
Yeah.
We're respected as artists
Fair.
over there, and not as comic book people. Comic book artists at the base of your shoe. They're artists with full exhibits and Mobius level respect.
Yeah.
We should have that here.
Yeah, I don't know, Calderon. You want to answer before I give my take, buddy?
Yeah. Well, I think. All right. To get back to Randy's point, I think one of the things that we need, the only real way we're going to capture that audience, is distribution needs to be expanded, right? It's been an issue for us for the last 20 years. Ever since Diamond took over as the single whole hog distributor, it's been issues. It's been 30 years or whatever the hell it's been. And it's just an issue because we just don't have the reach to get out to these different places. The other issue is the superhero thing is an issue because it just sucks all the air out of the room.
Yes, it does.
And I mean, and I'm not talking about the stuff like, the stuff you're doing, Jay, or like anybody other independent guys. We're talking specifically Marvel and DC printing 200 books a month. You understand? Filling up the stands. Yes. Now,
Wait. To add to that point, 200 crap books a month.
Well, no. Well, I was gonna add that. It says maybe 20 good books, and the rest of it is crap. You understand? That's usually the issue. And on top of that, though, is they have that many books and then another 60, 70, 80 alternative covers.
Yeah.
If not another 200 or 300 alternative covers on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you have they've already said they've stated a long time ago they're printing books to make sure that a company like Image doesn't succeed, right? That Pacific Comics never happens again. That Kamiko never happens again. That First Comics never happens again. They don't want these companies back. They don't want this competition. You understand? Now, if they were to scale back in their publishing and focused on their core titles and putting out really good books, I guarantee you they'll be down to like 20, 30, maybe 40 titles per book. They'd have quality books, right? And we'd all buy them, right? But that would leave room on the stands for everybody else to grow, right? And they don't want that. They really don't. It's funny. Daphne, I was just having a conversation with Daphne. She was telling me where she read that the reason why a TV ad spot is so expensive is because companies like Coke, Nike, Disney, these really big multimedia companies who don't need the advertising, they keep the advertising expensive because they don't want small brands to get in there. You understand? They don't want smaller brands to get in. You understand? They said the only other avenue that's been able to get in and crack that monopoly is betting sites because they have money. They're the only ones that got to spend them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. And that's not us.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think too that, kind of cycling back, I think we've all kind of said this, but is you look at when Walmart's first started to come into existence and the big pushback from the small mom and pop shops that were like, we're going to go out of business because when Walmart comes in, we're going to lose our customer base. They're going to be pricing us out. Walmart would be like, oh, this store over here sells this kind of widget. We're going to have this kind of widget on our shelves and we're going to sell it at a loss just to get people to come in here and not buy from them. So the mom and pop shop could have done one of two things. They could have said, we're going to fight the big guy and we're going to try to keep our mom and pop store over here, or we're going to innovate. And we're now going to become the top dog on eBay and on Etsy and other places like that where they don't need that. So they were like, how can we do this and reinvent the wheel and be smarter about it? And I think that that's kind of the things we all have to think about too. What are the ways we can go? Is there a way to get the books out there that's not going to need a diamond? I mean, obviously, if you want mass distribution, you need someone that's going to be distributing it. But in the end, in the long run, if you aren't going to get money back off of it, is it better to just go direct to consumer? Yes, that's going to be more difficult, but I know quite a few people that, especially nowadays, that have had titles that have sold a lot on smaller companies, and they get their royalty statement back and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that the smaller company did a print run of 5 times more than it ever was going to be able to sell. And because now I have to pay back this print run, I'm never going to make royalties off of this thing. How am I going to pay my artist? How am I going to pay for all the things I need to do? So maybe there's a different way to go about it. So I think, again, we all need to think about what's a different way that we can innovate to get our stuff out there that may not need the traditional model as the only model.
Yeah, and Matt Knowles answering everybody's question today. I had a question that basically led to the same place.
Boom, Mark Dudley, man. Look at this, man. Dude, I love it. I love it.
You are Matt Knowles Day.
Yeah. Matt, let me add a little bit to what you said. Actually, I want to ask, obviously you've heard those situations. I've heard of those situations too. Is there any and this had all right, let me I'm gonna have to put a pin in now because it's a completely different question. Jay, answer your question.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer the question by starting off with, I never should have asked the question in the first place, because what I asked was being answered to the point before I even asked it. You guys were hitting on the fucking nose, and I was like, "Oh, I wanted to hold on to that juice so I could present it in that."
We're still giving you juice, man. Come on now, we're still giving you juice.
Give me different juice. Juice, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. My question had nothing to do with My Hero Academia, Mark. It didn't. But you went there, baby. You went there, but I want to take that because I want to build from that. I want to build from that, right? Because you did bring up something, right? And right, because it was a superhero. And what's being capitalized on is whether we want to accept it or not. That absolute Batman, all right, is coming with a style that attracts that reader that has aged up, that reader that is looking for something different, right? That reader who's ready to go from vanilla to, Oreo, or vanilla to, mint chip. He's giving you the style. He's giving you the excitement, the not as much verbosity, right? But it's the same writer that had one of Batman's greatest runs in recent memory, and he's doing triple those numbers, right? I mean, The Absolute Batman is the best-selling book in the DC line right now. And yes, to go back to what Randy said, they are also capitalizing on that digest size, right? What is that? 810 is that? I don't know, Randy. I don't know what that print size is.
6x9. I'm not sure.
It's like a condensed. It's slightly smaller than a comic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 6x9.
So, okay,
yeah,
that
6x9.
Yep. But that's the Archie stuff that we were used to, right? That's the stuff that they'd always been doing, and what's keeping the business going this long, right? But now, one of the things with manga is they had 30 years of buildup out there before it came to our side of the pond, right? So people that didn't have access to it are seeing it as brand new, and they're seeing it as a regular, consistent release. Something that we are not doing at an independent level.
Manga and anime has been around for a long.
Of course it has. Of course it has.
Time,
right? But brother,
and it's built its fandom up quietly, but I think it's literally built itself on the back of the fact that the corporate comics quality have dropped as much as they have. I don't think they would have the foothold in the market if it wasn't, quite frankly, allowed by these big companies.
Yeah, but it
just didn't care about the market. They didn't care about the entertainment value of their product.
Well, that's because they thought they had. Again, look, I'll say this one thing. Look, we are junkies. Let's be for real, right? We need a fix. We're going to get that fix every Wednesday or whatever, right? So it's like the dope man. The dope man, he got people out there buying rocks all the time. He's like, I'm not going to the main connect. I got all these fools buying rocks. So they're gonna keep on buying rocks. And that's the problem. We keep on buying rocks.
Right.
When
that drug keeps leaving a bad taste in your mouth, you start looking for another drug.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But again, we still addicts.
Yeah.
Yes, but see, Green Lantern Books brings us up, right? They still have 30 years of material worth to translate. So even though it's overseas, it still hasn't hit the shores. It hasn't been Americanized. So they're not seeing it, and they're seeing
Honestly, it's still not Americanized.
And they bring some bad manga over here, man. Look, I got a lot of friends of mine. One of my our Jeff, who our editor at Imaginos, he taught in Japan for 8 years. He speaks fluent Japanese. Man, they bring so much garbage over here now because they've already mined it for all the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's a possibility also, man.
Right.
There could be a point where that stuff just becomes the slop that we're talking about that's coming out from like the big two, or the slop that's coming out from people that want to AI generate their books.
But there are a lot of slop coming out too.
Yeah.
The positive example off of this, and let's hope that it would be nice to see it go this way. Over in England, they got exposed to the Marvel Universe in every form that you can imagine, mostly in black and white, especially during the prime years. And they went through Marvel UK, went through the Marvel Universe and reprinted that like 5 times over in 4 different formats, everything that you could imagine. And it sold like nuts. And when the English couldn't get any more of that or any new product or new, better product, they started looking inside and started working on their own product. Mm-hmm. Let's hope that some of that happens over here, and that we end up getting like a publication like 2000 AD coming out in, and it wasn't a really unusual format for them over there. Over here, it was really a weird looking format, and with phenomenal ideas and very subversive material, and I would consider 2000 AD to really be the next step up as far as the entertainment genres go, from superheroes into science fiction pulp adventure characters.
That's true, but hold on. I have to sound to say, I mean, those are like strange mistresses. Those are strange mistresses coming together, but not as strange as the serpent mistress. Okay, so
nice
video.
Nice, but nice.
Bud. Okay.
All right, I was trying on that one. All right, Matt, you want to play this video?
Sure, absolutely. Hey everyone, Matt Knowles here, co-creator of Tatsumi the Serpent Mistress, and we are psyched to be able to present to you the second installment in our swashbuckling high seas adventure. Tatsumi's the last remaining daughter of the fallen Yammer Empire, and she's hell-bent on retribution and revenge against the evil horde that left her kingdom as nothing more than embers, ash, and corpses. The post-human dark conquestors and their vampire-like, spirit-sucking accomplices, the Soul Rippers. But first, she has to figure out her own path to survival in a world she didn't even know existed, aligning with the most unexpected of individuals, the crew of the Science Stalker. In issue 2, we head to the port of Alabastus, where Tatsumi seems to find chaos around every turn. We're also excited to have a guest appearance from the heavy mahogany band, the Dread Crew of Oddwood, within this issue. There's even a special Tavern Brawl variant cover that features the band and the crew of the Side Stalker squaring up for some ale-fueled biscuits. So head on over to the Kickstarter campaign now and see what we have to offer. And then join us January 27th through February 13th. You don't want to wait, because there'll be early bird specials and limited edition items that you don't want to miss out on. We hope you're ready for a swashbucklingly good time. We'll see you there.
All right, very nice, very nice.
Nice.
So that's only the second time in 17 campaign videos that the music in the video is not something that I wrote. The band that's in there in the issue, the Dread Crew of Oddwood, is the actual band from San Diego They're on a European tour right now, and that's all their music. In this issue, we have a tavern where there's a band of kind of hooligans playing, and Steph and I were like, man, why aren't we asking our guys in the Dread crew if they want to get, be some guest stars in this issue? And they were all for it. And, they were totally cool with us using their music in the video. And so, yeah, we've had a lot of fun with this. So Tatsumi starts from her origin stories in our fantasy horror one-shot, I Am Keto. Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress, gets to tell her story where she's the unquestioned lead, with her being, left for dead after the Dark Conquestors and Sorpers basically left her land, raised and scourged. She ends up being picked up by this pirate crew, and we love putting characters in fish out of water scenarios where you've got this Onabageisha martial arts person from a very prim and proper culture that now has to align with these pirates. And it's been a fun story so far. We're really excited about where we're taking this story. We love the merch that's in here, as you saw in the video. We have shirts, we have socks. I think this is our 11th different pair of socks that we've done. We have poker chips in here. We are literally, when we started this, we are $24 from our minimum funding level. Once we get to that minimum funding level, then we have some fun stretch goals we're going to add in there. But dude, literally $24 from the goal listed on Kickstarter. So all you need to do is go up there, maybe get an issue or two, or get yourself a shirt or some socks or some back issues, whatever it might be, and boom, we'll hit that level. I'll get the thing updated. We'll go from there.
Nice.
All right, cool. Can you put the link in the comments, bro?
I didn't put it in there, JD. You going to put it in there? It's in
because I need to see it in a private chat. That's why I can't.
It should be at the very top. It's tinyurl.com/Tatsumi2.
No, yeah. I pulled it up off your website, off your Facebook. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't see it in the private chat, so I just pulled it up.
All right, I'll go try and put it in there again because I put it.
Yeah, I saw it in there. I'm seeing it in the private chat right now.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
See, Mark's got my back.
Yeah. Maybe because I signed on late. I didn't get it. That's why.
Yeah, we really like where this story's going. I know that one of the things with our other titles is we normally write a little bit longer issues. Like with Heirs of Isildur, everything was 44 to 56 pages. Perfect Bound books. Everything we did with this one, every issue is going to be 32 pages. That way we can write comic-sized issues instead of, mini graphic novels. And the fun thing about doing that is it's really forced us to make sure that not only are we carrying forward the overall story arc, but making sure there's good, fun set pieces that are unique only to that specific issue. Issue 2's got a couple of them that are fun action-based sequences that are just in that issue, and are things that are going to be unique to that, like the Dread Crew's only in this issue, and then we have something really cool set up for issue 3 and issue 4 after that as well.
All right, cool. Now this is the second issue. It's a limited series. So how many issues you see in the limited series?
Right now we have this thing planned for 6 issues. One of the things we do have, we got really creative with our catch-up tiers in this one, because we've got a couple of artists or a couple of themes across I Am Keto and then Tatsumi 1 and 2. So our main art team, we have a catch-up tier. There's been people like, hey, I want to be able to get everything that's got Tatsumi in it. You could go and get the catch-up tier based on our main art team, Alessandro Ventura and Alan Emanuel. We have a manga sister duo from California that have done covers for all of them. So if you're like, hey, I really love Chess and Gwynn's cover style, you can go get their covers. We've done guest artists. We had Carl Moline, who was most known for his Buffy the Vampire Slayer run, but Carl Moline, and then a couple other guest artists. We have a guest artist pack, and then we have a specialty cover. We've got sketch covers and foil covers. You can catch up in that as well.
All right, cool, very nice. All right, like you said, you're just a few bucks away from meeting your goal. You got another 10 days left on the campaign?
Yeah, I got 11 days left. We only ran it for 17 days because we found for us right now that's the sweet spot, especially with late pledges. If somebody gets there late, they can still go and pledge to the campaign. That way we can get the ball rolling and not be tied up for 30 days and having that inevitable dead spot in the middle of the campaign. It kind of decreases that dead area a little bit.
All right. Well, somebody came in and got you over your goal, brother.
Oh, take a look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go. Very nice.
We'll be updating this.
Time.
We'll be
Very nice.
updating this after the campaign, and we'll get the first stretch goal in there, and we'll go from there. Good stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look at that, the Indie
Congratulations.
Comics month, baby. Look at that.
Boom.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Boom. There you go. All
And
right.
it
Good
came
job.
after I put up the link. You see? It pays to put the link in the comments.
All right. Well, good job, sir. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. You know, and just for that, we're gonna pull up this. There you go, Vicky Sticks.
What? Oh, that's my book. Vicky Sticks reinterprets the Frankenstein's monster story in New York City, but with a female lead. And she is the last cry for any of the it's great things. You know, why is he always got to interrupt when I'm saying something, right? He's got to throw me off with my spiel. Tom, yeah, this thing is still on, Tom. Yeah, we're still on. Vicky Sticks is she's the protector of all the monsters that go bump in the dark, and she is the last word on their lips when they're in trouble and about to breathe their last breath. Issue number 2 is illustrated by Dani Hariwijaya, covered by Larry Tuason, written by me. It is a 24-page full-color book. Releases on Friday, February 13th at 8 p.m. How do you not launch a monster book on Friday the 13th? It's like, you know, it's part of the mandate. It must be done. What's really cool about this is that I am also doing a tie-in with a couple of other creators like Tom Hutchison, JD Calderon, Marvin Wynn, and Rob Multari, where we have our first stretch goal is part of a exclusive comic creator trading card set. And each one of our first stretch goals is a brand new piece of trading card art, which when combined creates one brand new puzzle image on the back side of it. So it's a fun way for all of us to work with each other and still stay within our own lanes, but also maybe give something back to our backers.
Sure.
And then one of the things I've been doing for the last few campaigns is that any returning backer that pledges for a physical reward will get a holochrome trading card automatically added to their reward at no extra charge. I don't have, frequent flyer miles. I don't have that little punch card that says, you get your 7th coffee for free. But I do have a list of everyone who's ever backed me. And it's my way of saying thank you for coming back. And then we're also going to be doing another exclusive holochrome trading card for early bird backers. So if you're with us in the first 48 hours, again, all you got to do is back the first physical reward tier, and you're getting extra junk right off the bat for free. As again, a way for me saying thank you, and you jumping on here quick enough to help us boost those numbers. If you're not a returning backer, and if you get to it after those first 48 hours, you can still purchase those holochrome trading cards if you are interested. But just get them for free by jumping on right off the bat.
There you go. Very nice. And Jay,
yes,
it's not junk. It's cool stuff.
Oh, cool
Dude,
stuff.
I was literally going to say the same thing. I'm like, high quality collectibles, not junk.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, guys. I was in the zone. Mea culpa. It's not junk. It's cool. It's cool shit.
That's right.
Good stuff. There you go. I'm going to pull up my campaign. Well, this campaign is Dreamweavers. This is 2.2. It's a catch-up campaign. So if you missed the first campaign, I'm making it available again. I got a few new covers on here by various artists. This is Art Voyager, so he's going to be available. I'm forgetting the name of this artist, of course, but this guy's awesome. I'm serious. I worked with like 30 different artists in the last few months. I'm just forgetting this guy's name. But this guy is really, really good, and I want to get him on a book so bad. And then these are some of the interior pages for the book. And Dreamweavers, just to let you know, is about four kids aged between 8 and 12. And they like to play role-playing games. And whenever they go to bed, they come back in the bodies of their role-playing game characters. And these are these weird-looking, like this is one of them, Armadillo. He's one of the kids. Acrobat, he's one of the kids. We have a character called Mouse. We have the girl who's in there. She's the werewolf. The werewolf's like 7-8 feet tall. But she's known as Snowflake because that's what the little girl wanted to name her, and that's what she is. So there you go. So everybody can check that out. That'll be out on the next Friday, Friday the 6th. All right. And I'm also with that same group. And after my first stretch goal, we'll be releasing another card, and that'll be awesome. So there you go. And I think we had a couple other people jump in here. Who's this? Mark.
Oh yeah, I'm in there. I'm always in there.
All right, hold on. Let me pull it up. Judafis.
That's right, buddy. That's my lifelong girlfriend.
All right, there you go. Talk to us. So
Judafis is Afrofuturistic comic about a guy named Amaru Jones who is a bioweapon from our past, or at least from the past as it relates to that comic, who finds himself in the custody of 3 of his descendants who are orphaned, and the guys who were chasing him back in his past are kind of super powerful in the future, and they're looking for the kids. So he basically has to defend these kids, his relatives, and dig into a deeper mystery of why the heck it is they're looking for him, and you're going to find out that it's for a world-shattering reason.
All right, cool. Now, are you done with the story?
No, I in terms of writing the story, yeah, I've been done for a long time.
All
But
right,
still, I
illustrated.
write and I draw everything. So, I'm a little slow because, like I said, I write and I draw everything, and I'm overseeing a whole bunch of other stuff. But I got 2 more pages coming out actually in the next 2 weeks. And
Nice.
so I think that I'm on a pretty good schedule once again.
Cool.
And it's going to be cool to get them out.
Now, how long before you think it's done, and how long before I can get that trade?
You'll get the trade probably by the end of this year. I'm not going to say probably. I'm pretty sure you'll get it by the end of this year because this is chapter 2 I'm finishing, and then chapter 3 is a little shorter than chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Nice. All right, cool.
And then I'm going to do a Kickstarter to get it all colored.
Sounds
You know
good.
when
brother.
you're going to be doing that Kickstarter?
That Kickstarter will probably come around Christmas.
Okay.
Maybe later because nobody wants to give any money at Christmas.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
I love we only did one Kickstarter before, and we were really successful. I had fun doing it. So, I try to take lessons from that Kickstarter and from what I'm watching you guys do, in terms of doing the next one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you want to if you run a Kickstarter, you want to make sure that you have the thing end by, I'd say, mid-November.
Sure.
That's about when people's eyes start turning towards Thanksgiving and, oh crap, I got to save my money to get presents. So if you have it end by mid-November, that's probably going to be where you're going to have the best success and not be running into those, people trying to pinch their pennies for the holidays.
Yeah, you just saw the cover for chapter 2.
There you go. Very nice. All right, cool. How many pages do you more or less approximate is going to be?
I think it's probably about 90.
Okay.
The actual the first trade gonna be about 90. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Now, just to push back a little bit what Matt said, I'm not going to go against conventional wisdom, but that's what it is. It's conventional wisdom, right? Now, there are some unconventional things you can do though. Now, what I would advise is if you're going to run through Christmas, because I did for 2 campaigns, and I did fairly well on both of them. You run it, make sure it goes over Christmas, past the New Year, and maybe into the first or second week.
Right,
what you're going to find is that after Christmas, people are going to have money because people get gift cards, people get that envelope with a few extra bucks in it,
right,
and they're going to be looking to spend it. And why not spend it on your books?
Right.
That's how I look at it.
That's why we launched in January. Exactly.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So but as long as you let it roll past. But I got I did all right during that period. So and Daphne said I got a 6 out of 10 for my
Gotta put my notes in.
I'm a little hurt.
I would at least give you a 6.5 out of 10, man. Come on.
Daphne will be roasting you.
I know, and that was his book.
That's what I'm saying. I said more than your wife did. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I at least gave you a higher grade. Come on.
There we go. All right. All right. Now here's the thing, Jay. Check this out. I didn't send it to you because I knew you were gonna already have a question, but I asked everybody to come up with a question today.
What?
Yes.
And you made me ask the one that nobody answered? That's fucking crazy, bro.
What are you talking about? Everybody answered their question. What are you talking about? Come on.
I'm running the gag. Can I run the gag tonight?
No. You know. Oh, and this troll is back. This troll is back.
Oh, yeah. You see?
All right. So who has a question that they want to ask next? Who wants to go first? I'll, Matt, Mark.
I got a question, but I'll defer to Randy or to Mark if they want to go first.
This is probably kind of simple. So we talk about distribution, right? So are there any other distribution methods that you think we can use in comics that we haven't used? Are there any other distribution methods that you see used in other industries? Anything like that might work for us in comics or in indie comics especially?
Okay.
I'll start.
Go ahead, Randy.
I think you'll have to find some. To tell you the truth, there are folks out there trying different things. I've been looking at doing different things as far as getting comics out there to folks, and I don't know, grocery stores. All of that stuff's pretty sewn up. There's got to be a way to get this art form out to the masses again, and in a format or a way for them to appreciate it. So I'm looking. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, well, maybe ask the question. I saw something different that somebody did, right?
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I'm doing are graphic novels, and I can't really see myself campaigning for floppies. So we've been doing graphic novels and looking at doing other things, but I would really like to get. I had a newspaper out for a number of years.
Great, I got a whole bunch of copies of that newspaper.
Thank you. Here in the area, I love doing that paper. It was really, really rewarding, and it was a format that got us away from the didn't really get us away from the LCS because the local comic shops all advertised in the paper, and it helped them out as much as it did comics in general. But there's got to be more things to do like that available out there.
Yeah. Well, maybe ask the question is that I saw a barber shop that actually was a comic shop as well as a barber shop.
Yep, sure. I know what you're talking about.
And I saw a coffee shop. There was a coffee shop. It was a comic shop as well as a coffee shop.
Yeah.
All right. So what about
I think the days of a regular comic shop, an old style comic shop, are going to be very few and far between. They're always going to be something else with comics.
Right.
Yes.
You got to bring in people.
It's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, look at banks today, right? Capital Bank is now a coffee shop more than it is than a bank, right?
Yep.
And maybe this is a form of marketing more it is than distribution, but along the lines of that coffee shop, that barbershop idea. Who's to say you can't partner with your local pizzeria? And on Friday night, the Friday night special, anytime somebody buys a pie, they get a book for free, and that book capitalizes on return information to your website or to whatever sale you got going on. That's a thought right now.
Weed shops are doing it too.
Weed shops always did,
weed
right?
shop, dude. Or back in the day, that's where you used to get all the underground comics with the head shops, and I guess that they, kind of, remembered that, and they're doing it now.
Yeah,
that's where a lot of the direct market came out of, was those head shops.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, Mark, your question was, where can we find alternative?
Yeah. What type of? I'm saying. So, I said, are there any other distribution methods that we haven't tried? From other industries, maybe, or stuff like that.
Well, I mean, wow, if you could get into them, Scholastic book fairs.
Yeah.
If you could get into one of those, not one. I mean, you got to get into because they're running them in what, hundreds, if not thousands, of schools. If you could somehow get into those, I think that would probably be key. But you have to have the right product. right? Because it's going to have to go through a team of teachers and parents and all kinds of stuff,
Sure.
right? So you have to have the right. So it can't be raunchy, and it can't be too much of any one thing. But if you have a good, fun action adventure thing, I think I could definitely go.
Sure.
But it has to be fairly innocent, right? Not too controversial. But I think that's one. I think another one is
The last time I checked on their guidelines for submissions, you also had to fit a progressive political opinion, and you'll be heavily edited. That was in there. I saw that in their submissions. They warned you of that up front.
right. And listen, I mean, you know what? I appreciate that because I'd rather be forewarned,
Yeah.
right, than have it sprung on me. Right. And I
Right.
think any creator should, because if you're going to go with that route, at least going in what you're getting into. And I don't want to hear any complaining afterwards if you went into it and they changed your stuff.
Right.
You're like, you read the contract, right?
Yeah. Right.
So but I think that's one of the ways. The other way is I think I think, and it's a way that's available to us now, is going through places like Ingram Spark and Lightning Source.
We're available through them. Yeah.
Yep,
Through Ingram.
and getting yourself into libraries.
Yeah.
Because libraries will buy from them, right? But there's a lot of libraries, and it's a lot of outreach on the
119,000 libraries in the United States.
right. And you're right. And there's a lot of outreach you have to do, but you can do it. It's slow, steady, but you can definitely do it. And you just got to keep hammering at that and just keep going. But those are definitely alternative routes that you could try to hit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my reply to PBR.
Yeah. All right. So, Mark, what's the answer to your own question?
Well, again, I think it's about being creative. Like you said, going into places like libraries and going into places where there's a book market, and like particularly going to independent booksellers. We found that to be pretty lucrative for us. Going to because again, it's not just the Barnes and Nobles and the Books A Million and stuff like that. You got, especially there's a rise of after being crushed to death, there's a rise of indie bookshops.
Right.
There's a big rise of indie bookshops. So
You're seeing that come back, yeah. Just like record stores. Yeah.
Yep, and they're willing to do business with you, big time. Especially if you're doing like trades and graphic novels.
Right.
Right. So again, it's just you got everything that you guys said. I think is right, and it has to add to your diverse method of going about distribution.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. Matt, you have your question you want to ask?
I do. Okay, so here's my question. So for each one of us on the panel, looking introspectively, what's one thing if you could do it better personally, that it would help you improve your comic creation experience? That could be writing, production, the way you go about sales, the way you promote. It could be anything, but it has to be based on something that you yourself feel like is an area that you could improve in.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'll go first.
Do it. Right. I think that sounds great. How about JD Calderon? Why don't you go first?
Thanks. Appreciate that. It's always self-promotion, right? It is like, it's taken me a long time. I've talked about this on other shows with Jay and some of the other creators, like with the Oswald Chronicles. People would ask me, "Oh, what's it about?" Like I would put out a campaign, they would say, "What's it about?" And I would spurg. I would be like there would be like just sparks coming out of my head because the story's so big. I'd be like, what, I don't know how to answer that question in under 3 hours, right? So
3 hours. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the story's big, right? So I was like, but the one thing I figured out is, and it's funny because I designed the series this way, is that the series is a bunch of short stories.
Sure.
Right? So I just focus on the short story, right?
Mhm.
So I focus on that moment in time in his life, and I say, okay, in this particular segment, this is what he's dealing with, and I'm like, and I just work from that, because he's usually dealing with a personal matter that's usually a subplot, and then I'm usually dealing with the larger story that's usually someone from the outside asking him to do something or telling him a tale that they went through or whatever, and I try to break it down like that. But on top of that, though, the other issue I've always had is that I've always felt braggadocious, right? Like if I'm sitting here, I have a problem saying I'm doing I go online and all the time I post it up. You probably see me do it. The greatest mouse adventure going today, right? The Oswald Chronicles, right? And I do that, and I do it tongue in cheek when I do it, right? It's difficult for me to say, F Frank Miller, F Alan Moore, F Neil Gaiman, bro. Just put all that stuff aside. Just read the Oswald Chronicles. Don't worry about any of those other things. Just focus on this. It's very, very, like, for me, I just, I'm just like, I love those guys. You understand? I love what they're doing. And I also want people to read my stuff, right? But, sometimes it's hard for me to sit there and say, yeah, it's really great. And I'm like, because as a writer, right, being introspective, I have a lot of self-doubt. I sit back. I constantly question my work, but I do think I've reached whatever level I've reached by having that conversation with myself consistently. You understand? By saying, how can I make this better? Right. And, so it makes it difficult for me to sit down in front of people and say, yeah, you should really read this. When in the back of my mind going, damn, did I screw that up? So it's one of those things. So it's like, it's constantly, that inner struggle. Right. So that's why I have, that's for me, it's always because, people who have, who just have no filter with that stuff and they just go blah and they just, can promote, usually don't produce the best work.
Right.
I think it's a good answer. And one thing I always say, you'll hear me say a lot, this is probably a phrase you hear me say more than anything, is that people want to hear about a band, not from a band.
Right.
If a band says we're the greatest band out there, you're going to say, well, every band thinks that. But if somebody else says, dude, you got to listen to that band over there, that band rocks, and they have no reason to say that otherwise, then that's something that, people are going to take a lot more too. Maybe for someone like you, maybe see if you can get people to give you a couple of pull quotes, testimonials on your stuff. That way it's, hey, I feel this way about my stuff, but JD Rosario over here says that, he wants to get married and have this as part of his nuptials. Is something from, from my comic. I mean, those are the kind of things that might help you, because then it's not you puffing up your own stuff. It's JD or somebody else's comments that you're going and you can go lean on as complimentary of your own product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, DM Ray did a very nice review of the Oswald Chronicles, and he did a video thing. And I listened. I was, I was very grateful for it. And I'm like, I owe DM Ray. Thank you. I don't know if he's listening, but if you listen.
What about you, JD squared? Other JD, JD Junior, JD Senior, whichever one you want to go by. What about that?
Well,
Rosario works. The JD Junior, other JD. Oh man, that one hurts me, bro.
I said JD squared first, man. Whichever.
Yeah, so but the one that you missed was JD better looking. You know what I mean, bro?
You know what though? I'm gonna let you guys fight that one out.
Yeah, he didn't want to lie on screen.
Nah.
So back to the question. So what's one thing if you could do better that you think it would help improve your comic creation experience, writing, production, sales, anything specifically that you could do that could help make your products or your experience something better?
Consistency. Consistency. It's always key. You got to get the reps in, right? You get the reps in, you're making less mistakes. And if you make a mistake, right, the next rep will hopefully fix that, right? What was it? You brought up music, right? With Prince, when Prince would play and he'd mess up on a riff, he would repeat the riff, right, to make it seem like he wasn't messing up, like it was planned. And if you're consistent, you always got next month to fix or the next release to fix the mistake. Consistency breeds trust,
Mhm.
right? Trust leads to sales.
Right.
Sales leads to a bigger war chest. The war chest leads for you to pay your talent on a more consistent basis, so they can help you release and build a better product, right? It's going back to that eco structure that Mark was talking about, right?
Mhm.
Right? Is eco structure the opposite of like a vicious cycle, right?
Yeah, it is actually.
Machine, right? That one thing feeds into the next positively. And that's something I'm working on, right? That's something I've always worked on, but I wasn't always consistent with working on that too. So it's managing the focus to be consistent at the same
I
time.
think that's fair. I think that's a good answer, man. Good answer. If this was Family Feud, that would definitely be on the board.
Ding!
What about you, Randy? I know, Randy, you've been doing this for quite a long time. What do you think at this point in your career you could still focus on to be better at what you're doing?
Well, I'm already focusing on being more productive. That's been a big thing for me this last year, and sitting here and writing the Atlantean and basically almost like I've been relearning how to write. It's been a real big educational experience. Other than that, it's marketing, getting out there in front of faces and in front of noses, getting the recognition of the product out there. I'm not afraid of the quality of the product. It's just a matter of finding the audience for it and getting the sales from it. Luckily, with the Atlantean, we've been climbing in sales with every volume, which is a lot of fun, and we've been getting more and more notice because we are based off of a Robert E. Howard property. So the REH family, that group that are into Conan and Howard's writings are starting to find us and give us a lot of really nice positive reviews, which has been really, really great to see. But other than that, my big goal this next year is to get out there and sell more and to be more productive than I was in 25.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Mark? What do you think to this question?
Well, again, I gotta give my wife some credit because she always sees stuff I don't see. Incidentally, she came with an answer to the question that I asked, saying that we need to look at cider mills. I'm like, man, never thought about that one. Number one, and number two, she always says that I need to start focusing on myself. She likes the fact that I'm compassionate. I try to help out people, but she thinks I need to start focusing on my own stuff a little bit more to get that out. And I think that for me, it's about being consistent, but it's being consistent in the actual art. I'm still working on getting my faces consistent. I mean, that's always been a problem for me, right? I think I lie without my rendering cool and all this stuff, but it's that getting that faces consistent. So I'm practicing that now all the time, practicing that by doing turnarounds and stuff like that with characters and all that, right? And learning not to let perfect be the enemy of the good.
Right.
So much.
That's very good too, because I know that a lot of times you're like, oh, I got to spend. I kind of look back to Napoleon Dynamite. I spent 3 hours on the shading on the upper lip, and like nobody's going to notice that shading on the upper lip that you took 3 hours on. They're going to flip right past it and be like, dang, I could have been doing 3 more pages at this point, and I spent it on the upper lip. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
For me, and this is going to sound kind of odd because I don't mean it the way it's going to sound, but I feel like sometimes the ruthlessness, the go-getter in closing a sale is something that I normally gravitate more towards. I don't want somebody to feel like that I gave them the hard sell. Right. And like if the pendulum's here, I'm not big on somebody that's a hard sell where, if you're at a show and people see that guy with the hard sell, they want to avoid that aisle because they don't want to have somebody that's just, really hard on them. But I sometimes gravitate more towards the other side where there could be a sale that's right there that all I have to do is just say one more thing or just, close it and sometimes I won't close it because sometimes I don't want to feel like I'm selling something to somebody that maybe they don't really want and they're not sure about. And I think I need to get over that because that's what we do in business. People buy stuff that they buy on impulse all the time. Why can't it be my stuff?
Right. I concur.
Cool. We got a question from the audience.
Now.
There we go. PBR.
PBR.
What is the market audience for comics?
Now let's read out. What is the market audience for comics nowadays? Is it young boys or is it more mature guys like us that spend money on comics? I don't see kids today with enough money to buy books now.
Again, I think we're in a period of transition because, like we've been saying before, you've got the audience that was into Dogman and that coming in mostly with their parents' money, buying large graphic novels and hardback books. But you've still got the old collectors out there still buying, and the old readers out there still reading stuff. People still are buying variant covers. So I would say that the market is very vast right now. I don't know or think that it's, I know it's predominantly male, but I know for a fact it's not all male. You know, the last time I think demographics was done on the comic reading market was back in the 80s. And that's how old that information was. And that's information that they've written. I think they still write it to this day, where they felt the main audience was 25, mostly male, mostly white, mostly heterosexual. I don't think that necessarily holds anymore.
That's the money thing, though, too. These kids, manga costs $10 to $13 a pop, and these kids are buying it left and right. So I don't think the money thing is really as much of an issue.
I think they're using their parents' money on that, or their parents' credit card.
Right. They might be doing that too, but again, a sale's a sale.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, they'd rather buy a $13 or $14 manga book that's yay thick as opposed to buying two $5 or three $5 comics.
Right. Exactly.
You know that the value is just a no-brainer.
Yep.
I think that from what I've seen, I do think the money is all coming from the same place, but I think that the way it's marketed, you know, if you've got marketable characters that you can get out there outside of the pages of your book to where a kid might see a character that they might like, that might be the impetus. Hey, I've seen that character, I want to get this book, and the parent might be like, okay, let's go buy that. I think that that's the key. I know that's kind of not really sidestepping the question, but I think that while the money may be coming from the same spot, it's about what you market and how you market those things is how you get the other money to come in and how you get the other demographics to come in, the other ages and genders and things like that. Because if all you're doing is marketing comics traditionally, I think like Randy was saying, you're going to get only that traditional money that's out there.
Right. Look, I go to a lot of anime cons and stuff, man. I see these young girls plucking down money, man. I mean, they plucking it down. And that's another thing, you know, in terms of the audience. You know, there's more young girls out here reading comics now than were when we were growing up. That's for sure.
Oh, the market has shifted 100% since we've come up in it.
Oh yeah.
There used to be a time that seeing a girl at a comic convention was an oddity,
Right.
let alone somebody in cosplay.
Right.
So,
I know one of the things that we've had people appreciate in our titles is that across the board, there's always strong female characters in our titles. Not because, you know, there's only strong females. We have strong males, strong females, you know, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it may be. But I think that when people can feel like there might be a character in there that they might be able to relate to, that helps them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
that's the whole key to entertainment, though, is having characters that you can relate to like that. Yeah.
And I think there's a way to do that where you're not pandering and you're not doing something that's so over the top. I think as long as it's something that's done for us, at least for us, as long as it's done organically and it's in the issue, in the title, in a way that that is organically done, and we can feel like it's not done to just pander to any specific, age, gender, whatever it might be. We've felt like there's been a lot of good response to that. People see something like Tatsumi where they're like, oh crap, you've got the lead character. There's somebody that's a badass that's carrying around a sword, and she isn't having to get nude to be able to get to make these things happen.
Right.
Cool, sign me up.
Right.
True.
Now, my main female character, and she's not even the main character in Judafist. Cobra Red, she's more popular. People like her more than they like the main guy.
Yeah. Jay, did you answer yet?
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Sorry. I was dealing with something in the background. It was.
No, you're horrible.
Yeah, I know. I am. I'm sorry. It's okay. I don't really care. But yeah, as far as did everybody answer? I'm the only one left.
Yeah.
Yep. It's you.
Good. Yeah.
So no, but all right. The more young boys, guys like us spending money. I would say this in the Kickstarter realm. I would definitely say it's more guys like us, 30 and up, guys with a lot of excess cash that they're willing to put in, because I've said it before in the past. Kickstarter's boutique shopping, man. I mean, it's money for a book, right? We're spending typically what, $15 to $25, $35 for a single comic, right? So that's boutique shopping, and that requires somebody with money, and that's usually older guys like us. Obviously some ladies as well. So, but people with money are gonna have to go in there and buy that stuff. When it comes down to like Mark was saying, young ladies do spend money. When I was doing we did an 8-year run, San Diego, Daphne and I, my biggest clientele for Oswald, and this was prose. This wasn't comic books. This was prose. I would print them up as these little digest-sized books, and I would sell 50, 60 of those things every single time I went out there. And they would always run up to the table, and they would be like, do you have a new one? Right? And this is every year. Do you have a new one?
Awesome.
And they'd be like, yes. And they were like, boom, 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 boom. Right? And then, then we stopped going. Then it shifted over to Kickstarter, and then it's, free-for-all city there. But there is a market for everyone. I do think that young ladies that'll definitely purchase, comic books. And again, it's just, is it to their taste? And that's all it really is, right? Is it to their taste, right? And the thing is I think also sometimes we have to accept the fact that there are things that are to one person's taste or another person's taste, right? There's certain types of movies that I like that my wife would be like, yeah, you have fun with that. Right? It's like, right? And then there are movies that she likes
all day.
Right. There are movies that she enjoys, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go read a book now. Right. And that's just the way it is, right? Yeah. And I mean, and I think sometimes we get a little stuck with the Disneyfying of things, where we're trying to make this weird neutral ground where everybody's gonna enjoy it and everybody's gonna jump in. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not good. Sometimes you do want to stick to what, depending on what you're doing. You know what I mean? Yep. You're going to want to stick to one side sometimes. Sometimes you can be in the middle, and that's fine too. But it just, I always say, do the work you want to do, stick where your heart is at, and it doesn't matter what it is. Just stick to it, right? You may be missing out on half the market. You understand? But you don't need half the market to survive, right? Because in the end, all you really need is 1,000 true fans. If you can find 1,000 true fans to support you, you'll be fine, right? I've yet to find my 1,000 true fans. I'm looking for you people. Where are you? Anyway.
Hey, JD, you ever seen that anime called Key Metal Idol?
No, I can't say I have. No.
So this is robot kid who has to find. Basically, it's Pinocchio. It's this robot kid who has to find the tribe of true friends to become a real girl.
Right. There you go. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that there's room enough for everybody. I do think that kids, it's always the parents introducing kids to stuff, right? So it's like, if you got grandkids or if you have children of your own, bring them up reading. It doesn't matter what they read, so long as they're reading, right? It doesn't matter what they're reading. Manga,
reading teaches critical thinking too.
What?
Reading teaches critical thinking.
Exactly. Yes, for sure. You understand? But as long as they're reading, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what they're reading, as long as they're reading. You know, so that's how I look at it. And then PBR also had another question. He says, "What about the gals or females buying comics today?"
Yes.
Like I said, I think we kind of answered that one too. So, all right, Randy, do you got a question?
Just a softball one.
No, that's fine.
All right. Is there a old black and white series out there that you miss that's no longer around? Independent series
Oh, you're talking comic books.
in comics? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, not on television.
Well, there's no-
I
miss me, those old
old
serials.
serials. Yeah, we used to go to the theater every Saturday. Anyway,
oh, Twilight Zone. Come on.
I miss
Twilight
not-
Zones are still all available, man. I've
Right.
been
Oh, no,
rewatching them. Yeah,
But could you imagine if you could get new ones from Rod Serling?
that would be great. Well, that's
No.
probably not too far off anymore.
Right. You know, Randy, I'm missing them black and white Savage Swords of Conan.
Yeah. That's why we do.
Yo,
That's
that's
why
cool.
he did
I'm
what
gonna
Randy
start,
had
and I'm gonna start going for that book too. I'm also missing. I'm thinking. I'm also missing. The black and white Sable stuff. Cause there was some black and white Sable stuff that I liked.
Now, when you say
Mike
Sable,
Grell, Sable.
John
Yeah,
Sable,
Mike, just the black and white Sables that I liked a
John
lot.
Sable freelance. Okay.
Yeah, and he also did the Star Slayer. He did too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I missed that stuff, man. I missed that stuff a lot.
Okay. Cool.
And stuff was mostly in color. There's some great stuff that who remembers the fourth the Fourth Kingdom out there
Oh, yeah.
just ran across that title the other day when Bill Shanish just came in and bought out Bud Plant. They announced a day or two ago.
Right, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Mentioned that. I'm like, wow, I haven't thought of that magazine in a while. I got copies of it around. I need to dig that back up and take a look at it. It's like I mentioned earlier, Galaxian I really liked when it was out. That was like a Star Trek, only with almost got an anime look to the artwork. It's really nice. Albedo I miss a lot. That was a very military, funny animal comic. That was a really good.
Steve Galacci.
Yeah, Steve Galacci. A little gets a little overly technical at times, but it was a great book. It was fun, and it spawned Sagi Jimbo.
Yep.
No,
Nobody remembers Albedo.
I really wish we could get some more Crow work.
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be nice.
That'd be real nice getting some more Crow.
Thank you, Burke. Matt, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to give a cheesy answer on this one, but I think it's just because it's not that old. But I really enjoyed the beginning, the start of The Walking Dead when it was there and it was around, and then when they're like, oh, it's gone now. I enjoyed that because I felt like there was something special in the beginning of The Walking Dead. As far as comics, when I feel like there's a whole new group of people that were not just brought to that, but also brought to the cross-platform, comics and a TV show that was great. I mean, I think that after a while, the comic got cheesy. After a while, the show got cheesy. But I feel like just that energy at the beginning was really cool. Having the, what are they going to change from the comic to be able to put it in the TV show? Let's go back to the comic and take a look at this. And that was a black and white. So I think that's my answer.
Right. I agree too. That's pretty cool stuff.
Okay, cool. Jay, what are your thoughts?
All right, so don't make fun of me, guys. I didn't have
a
comic shop in my area growing up, right? So everything was off of the spinner racks. And it wasn't until I was in a junior in high school that I found a comic shop. And
but that was like what, 1972?
1992.
72, yeah.
And the indie books that I was picking up, which weren't indies, they were more just, they weren't Marvel and DC, right? Were Valiant, were the Grendel books, the Mage books.
So you missed that whole golden age of black and white alternatives.
Yeah, but
all of that stuff started out like that. Yeah.
But the one golden age, the one black and white book that I was picking up on a regular basis on release was Jeff Smith's Bone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. It was hitting at that time. Right.
Yeah.
And I was digging it. I was picking it up. I never had a pull list ever. It was okay. I'm coming back, and when I come back, whatever's there, I'll try to grab. So it was Bone, and then when it would come out in full color in a digest, I was like, I don't want this shit.
Yeah, right.
I want it in black and white.
Yeah.
So I got about a good 30 issues of Bone in black and white.
You know what else? Jason Scott Alexander's what was that? Empty Zone from Serious Comics. That was dope. He's doing Spawn and stuff, covers and stuff now. Jason Alexander, he's doing that stuff. And my boy, Randy, that you gave him his first shot. My boy Sherrod Jackson, Semantic Lace.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's a banger.
Yeah, he finished that off with Devil's Due.
Yeah, he's a banger, man. Definitely banger.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'm really. Oh, there's another one. All right, so I got 3 of them. So it's The Realm, right? One Randy's very familiar with. Guy Davis's, run on The Realm. I love that. The Adventurers, which is like an old D&D type of black and white comic. Yeah, it's called The Adventures. That was a lot of fun. Dragon Force.
I remember Dragon Force. That was good. Yeah.
Dragon Force turned to Dragon Ring. Oh, that was great. And Del Keown was ass in that book, man. Oh my goodness.
Yep. Another one is Warlock 5. Dennis Beauvoir.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Aircell.
Yep.
Wow. Aircell was banging with them books, man.
Yeah. Yep. So those are definitely been out. Here's the thing. Warlock 5 recently had a reprint of all. It was originally 13 issues, but the reprint had all the way up to issue 15, so it completed the story, which was
really
cool.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could find it, I know they did a Kickstarter. I don't know if the company is releasing, if they have it still available or whatever. But
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
Because you talk about a creepy comic. That was a creepy comic, buddy.
Yeah, that book was a lot of fun. Those guys mixed a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then The Realm. Randy, I know you know the guys from the Caliber. Tell them you gotta, you know at least one fan that wants to compile all of the Guy Davis stuff in the one book.
Eric at Caliber has that. He's fully in charge, and you'll never see it.
Why? What's wrong with that guy?
Because Guy Davis doesn't want it to come out.
Yeah.
Really?
Guy Davis doesn't want any of his older artwork out there.
Well, then tell him to at least to reprint Marquee. How does that sound?
Because I keep telling Eric that he could take the Guy Davis artwork and find a colorist who would paint that Guy Davis's work, not touching any of the line work, but to do it in an anime coloring style. Unbelievable. And it would sell like a nut. I know it would sell like crazy. And Eric's not interested in pursuing it because he's Guy is very anti having any of his work out there, any of his older work out there. So
I mean, just because they had the little paperclip noses, I mean, that's all he's really mad at,
whole different style. Well, he doesn't. He kind of doesn't pay much attention to comics anymore, anyway. So
right. I mean, I'm just, for me, I'm like, look, I'm like a longtime fan, and those books are really good. I mean, the Realm books are really good. There's
I love his stuff. I love all of his work. Every iteration of his work, he's just amazing. Yeah.
But there's 2 issues that are just like 2 annuals or 2 specials.
Legend Lord.
Have to do with the dwarfs and stuff.
That was Legend Lord. Yeah,
Legend Lord. Those 2 are like incredible. Those are the 2 that I really like. That I love to receive. But again, Marquee, which is a book he did later, right, is out of print. I would love to see a reprint, nice hardcover of the whole thing, reprinted. Right. And that's his new work. That's
he might not want it out there. I can't speak for him. I haven't spoken to Guy in probably 20, 30 years.
Right.
Oh wow.
But
well, he's in Hollywood now, so
Yeah, he's with Guillermo. Wherever Guillermo is,
he's at,
that's where Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
That's where Guy
He's
Davis
doing
is.
his design work. So
Every kaiju you saw in Pacific Rim came out of Guy Davis.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
a lot of the design work I think in Pinocchio.
We look for him in the credits every Guillermo production
Guillermo
that he's done since before Pacific Rim. I don't remember what the first Hellboy, maybe that guy came in on, and Guillermo just took him, and he's been working in his art production department ever since.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
doing some really imaginative stuff. You look at the what was it, Cabinet of Curiosities that he did on Netflix. All of those monsters, everything on there was all Guy Davis.
That was great.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't finish the series, man. I only got 3 episodes in. I was like, okay.
Well, it's very quirky, and I thought the last episode was like the most disturbing.
Right.
The one you sit there and you go, whoa, just it just kind of shook you. Very different from the rest of the series, but it's worth watching. It's fun. It's a nice anthology series.
Give it another shot.
Yeah. I mean, because you got to remember, it's an anthology series, different directors, different writers.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, some of them it's going to be uneven. You know, some of them would be better than others. Some of them are going to be to your taste. Some of them not. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Art Victim in the chat. I love doing it. Loved Flint Comics. Had a few issues from back in the day. He delivered to my old town of Gaylord. That's because Kurt Kulka is up there. He's still doing he's still doing a comic book newspaper, or not a comic book newspaper. He's doing a comic paper up there in that area. So I hope you're enjoying that up there with that Kurt's doing. Kurt used to do the Cardinal, or it still does the Cardinal, but we printed it in Flint Comics. It was a fun adventure strip.
Cool. All right, gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. This is lively fun. This was good. This was good.
Yes, sir.
Right? This was a lot of fun. The 2 hours went by really quickly.
Oh yeah, always does.
All right. So let's start with Mark. Mark, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me at Judafist, the comic series.com for my comic. You can look up what we're doing over at ImagineThoseWorkshop.com. And you're going to see we're doing a whole lot of stuff, some short film stuff, comic stuff, podcast stuff like that.
All right, cool. Matt?
The first thing you can do, you can go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations, INSYMMETRY Creations. From there, you've got all our links, whether it's Kickstarter, whether it's our website. Steph writes articles for sites such as Fangoria, Horror Geek Life, Creepy Kingdom. She just did her first article for the Daily Jaws, which allowed her, she was able to sit on the Jaws 50th anniversary panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year.
Oh, cool.
So she was able to also get an article on the Daily Jaws, which was really awesome. So that's where you want to go if you want to see our metal music, our music videos, everything about our different titles. But the most important place you can go right now is tinyurl.com/Tatsumi2. That is TATSUMI2. So you can see our Kickstarter campaign that's got 11 days left. Because of somebody on this very show, we crossed that minimum funding line during the show. And I will say that person might be the best looking person in the top middle square of this show. Nobody else in the top middle square looks better than that guy. Boom. But I've actually gone ahead while we were on the show and I updated the page so that way the first stretch goal is showing. So now we were 14 backers from the next backer count incentive goal. We got the first stretch goal showing. So anybody that wants to come and jump on board, we'd love to have you. We love the story of Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress, and everything that's going on. And we think if you jump on board, you are going to enjoy the story and the whole environment that we're providing for you.
All right, cool. I just want to say real quick, though, please, everyone, take a good look at Matt. Might be his last time here.
Hey, I said he was the best looking person in the middle square. I didn't say he was the best looking JD. Come on, man.
I'm only joking. You're always joking. I'm only joking. Ray, where can we find you in your work?
You can find my work in the Atlantean that you can order through Ingram. You can get that at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any place where you can order paperback books. You can order copies of the Atlantean. If you remember the old Savage Sword of Conan, we tried to get back to that, only we had to square bind it because it's print on demand. It's the tale of Kull the Barbarian and Brule, his best friend, companion, as they traveled the land and rid their reality of shape-shifting lizard people. It's great sword and sorcery fun. We have 3 volumes of the Atlantean out already, and all 3 of those are based off of another book that we did called The Shadow Kingdom that adapts the Robert E. Howard story. That is also available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, on Ingram, and it's available in multiple formats too, including the one that's in the same format as the Atlantean, but there's also a beautiful hardback version and a digest version of the same work. So please take a look at those. The 4th volume of the Atlantean is going to be campaigned in March, starting March 1st. All of the artwork on the Atlantean is all done by Russ Leach. It's really pretty, just beautiful stuff, except for those fantastically painted covers, which we just got the cover in for the latest issue, and it's just amazing. Our painter on these covers has just been fantastic, and I can't recommend it enough. If you like sword and sorcery work, you're going to enjoy these books. We went to great lengths to put as much of our love and entertainment into each book. But again, they're available wherever books are sold. You can look for the campaign for the 4th volume on fundmycomic.com. Fundmycomic.com. We'll have that over there the 1st of March. If you want to sign up for a newsletter, we do have a newsletter available over at russleach.com. russleach.com. You can sign up there. Russ doesn't bombard you with a lot of unnecessary spam. Just a newsletter maybe once a week to let you know where we're at as far as the book's progress goes. But other than that, I do 2 podcasts on the Indie Comics Network. Please check them out, Sunday Funnies and Comics by Night. And thanks a lot for having me on.
That's about anytime. Mr. J. D. Rosario.
You can find me at unstoppablecomics.com. All of our social media links are over there on the website. And I would ask you to not forget on Friday night, February 13th, Friday the 13th. We got Vicky Sticks launching on Kickstarter. All right. You can pick up not just issue 2, but you can pick up the previous 0 issue and issue number 1. And then one of the things I like to do with the issues is have the regular trade dress cover, but on the back it is sans trade dress, so you can present it any way that you want. Right? You don't got to buy an extra copy. Gimmicked out. It's all there in one shot. All right,
cool. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those different places. Sunday nights here, Friday nights with Jay, and don't forget, just like Jay, next Friday though, on the 6th, Dreamers 2.2 is going to be coming out, so you go check that out. And just remember, everybody, please check out the show notes. In the show notes are the links to all of these creators' projects. Click on those links. Buy those books. All of these creators are doing awesome books, fantastic books. All of them put their heart and souls into it. So please go buy some of these books from some of these creators. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night,
everybody.
Night.
See ya.
Wait, you're going to launch during my stream?
No.